I've already got mine.
Okay, you're
But I will ask, we probably are going to want those out there for people to be able to speak. Because this is an interactive presentation. This is not just me up here speaking. Okay? So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to actually be doing probably just the fire aspect of what's called steps to safety. Some of you who may have been here about 10 years ago, we did a similar presentation called Remembering When. This is the new updated material for that. So if any of you happen to remember that, again, we've updated it. That's been a new NFPA's project, is the steps to safety. So today what we're here for is we are here to specifically learn about ways to stay fire safe in our home. We're going to also talk a little bit, if we have time, about fall prevention. More than likely we will not today, but I can come back and do that aspect in the future. The other thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be learning and sharing from each other. So, like I said, it's not just me up here speaking. I want you guys to have conversations with your neighbors about these important safety messages. So, to start out, a little bit about me. My name is Jeremy Berger. I am now the fire marshal in New Brighton. I have a long history in the fire service. I've actually been in the fire service for 15 years. I started out in New Brighton as paid on call. I then became the fire safety officer for the city of St. Paul. So I worked with the St. Paul Fire Department for quite some time. When COVID happened, I actually moved to Maple Grove and became a deputy fire marshal for the city of Maple Grove. At that same time, I was also the fire marshal for the state fair. So any fairgoers here? Okay. Yeah, that's one of those areas that I again oversee. And now I'm here in New Brighton full time. So it's all kind of come back. I got to start here in New Brighton, and now I'm back here as fire marshal. So I'm glad to be here. I also live in New Brighton, right up the street front behind the fire station. So here to make my hometown safe and keep everyone else safe as well. So we're going to be talking a little bit about fire prevention, but before we move on to this, I want you guys to have a brief 1 minute to 2 minute conversation about what are some things that you know of that start fires. Just talk to your neighbors. What are some things that you know of that start fires? Go ahead. No wrong answers. So what are some things that you came up with that start fires? Who's got some?
Candles.
Okay, candles. Who said candles? Raise your hand. We don't have candles. Do you think everybody always follows that rule? Okay. Can't have candles, but you're not supposed to. But people do things that they're not supposed to do. Candles. Okay. What else?
Cooking grease.
Who said that? Okay, cooking. How many people talked about cooking? All right, wonderful. One of the number one, in fact, typically the number one cause of fires in the state of Minnesota is cooking. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. We got two good ones. What else?
Dryers.
Batteries. Why'd you say batteries?
Well, anything's possible, right?
Anything's possible. Believe it or not, I've seen it. Batteries are a common one. It's not just lithium ion. Believe it or not, I've gone to a house fire where a house burned to the ground because they had 9-volt batteries that they threw into a garbage can. It came in contact with the paper clip, built up enough resistance to start that garbage can on fire. We've also seen it where people will have a junk drawer with 9-volt batteries and steel wool or things. Steel wool goes up against that battery, the 9-volt, it's enough to short it out and start a fire. So yes, batteries for sure. Okay, what else? Okay, what?
Smoking.
Smoking. We all know this is a non-smoking building, right? Right? That means we can't have a smoking fire here, right?
Right.
I'll just wait till my article that's coming out, okay? All right, seriously. Smoking, yes, smoking continues to be one of the leading causes of fatal fires, too. So smoking, even though we're in a non-smoking building, we can still have a smoking-caused fire. And we'll talk about that in a little bit, okay? One more.
Toasters.
Dryer. Oh, I'm going back. Since we heard cooking already, we'll get back to toasters. Dryer. What about dryers? The lint buildup. Yeah, definitely. We want to make sure that those are cleaned down. We want to again make sure it's got good airflow. An air-served dryer is more likely to have a fire. All great answers. And you know what? There's probably another 15, 20 more answers that people had that we didn't even get a chance to talk about. So there's lots of things in our homes that can start fires. We're going to really talk about some of those main things and try to prevent them, and things that you need to be aware of in your home. So, the thing that most people don't realize is fire is fast, and it's getting faster. How many of you, before today, had fire safety education when you were an adult? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 people. How many of you was it that the only fire safety education you got was probably when you were in elementary school? Maybe the fire truck came, the firefighters came and saw you. How many of that was you guys? More people. That's pretty typical. That's what we see. Do you think a lot has changed since when you were a kid to today?
Yes.
Yeah, it has. And one of those things that's changed is the speed of fire. Okay? About 40 years ago, fire was much slower than it is today. And the reason for that is we've had a lot of changes. For example, that couch. When do you think that couch was made?
Horsehair.
1880, yeah, like somebody's answer. I like that one. Okay? Can we all agree that that's an old couch?
Yeah.
All right. What is that couch made out of?
Horsehair.
Horsehair. I heard cotton. I heard somebody say wood. Okay? We're talking natural materials, right? Okay. So, natural materials. What's this couch made out of? Synthetic materials, like what? Nylon? Polyester? What do you think it's filled with?
Oil.
Oh, who said that? Raise your hand, be proud. Okay, all right, oil. Petroleum products. We'll get to that, yeah. All right, we like to call it solidified petroleum. Okay? That's literally what we like to call it. Solidified petroleum. All right. We also all have these different homes now. We have open floor plans. Look at this, right here. What do we have right here? The stairs. Where do those stairs go? Upstairs. Okay? You think there's a door at the top of those stairs?
No.
You think there's a door at the bottom of the stairs going down the basement even? Maybe not. Okay? We all want these open floor plans. We've taken the idea of, we don't want these individual rooms. Like if we had a kitchen a long time ago, we'd have this wall right there. We'd have a separate kitchen. We'd have a separate bedroom. Now we want these open flowing floor plans. And what that means is that smoke and heat isn't contained. It can go throughout the building much, much, much faster. So, where you used to have a much longer time to escape, studies are now showing you have as little as 2 minutes from the time the smoke alarm goes off till you need to be outside. You want to see that live? All right. So I'm going to actually show that to you. So this is an experiment done by UL. UL is a large company that tests products. They are also responsible for firefighter safety. And what they did is they're going to burn 2 identical rooms. Identical in size, identical in the type of furnishings in there. The main difference is what the furniture is made out of. One of them is going to be the older natural materials. The other room is going to be synthetic materials. I want you to keep an eye on it and see which one starts on fire first. Make sense? All right. Here we go. Anybody see fire yet?
Yep.
Okay, pause it. Which one do people see first?
Natural.
Natural. Okay, so natural started on fire first. Everyone agree with that? All right. We do have some small flames starting over here. They're using a glow plug to get it going. But watch what happens now. So this is 47 seconds in. So right now your smoke alarm's probably starting to go off in that natural one. Oh, there goes the synthetic. I'm gonna pause it there for a second. What color is the smoke in this room? White. What color is the smoke over here? Black. What did we say it was? Petroleum. All right. So right now we're at 2 minutes, or thereabouts, 2 minutes and 5 seconds. They're gonna let this go to flash over. Here we go. So right about now, you're going to see that smoke is going to actually start on fire. The smoke. Smoke is unburned fuel. It's about the equivalency of diesel fuel. We've now reached what's called flashover. Flashover is when everything in the room basically is being involved in the fire. Our gear doesn't protect us in this situation. We can't go in there. Okay, this is reality. Okay, so right there, we're seeing those flashover times. This one was 4 minutes and 56 seconds. What's going on in this room? Not much. I can still probably go in there and very easily put it out with a bucket of water. How long do you think it's going to take that room to get to that level?
Oh, we have sprinklers.
We'll talk about that in a minute, okay? Very good. I'm glad you brought that up. And that's part of the reason why we have them, okay? Here's 6 minutes. Hour and a half. I like that answer too. There's 16 minutes. There's 26 minutes. There's almost 30 minutes.
You just need old-fashioned furniture.
That's right.
In some of these cases, in the laboratory, they never got the legacy room to ever flash over. It was over 30 minutes in each of those instances. The scary part is we've actually done this same exact experiment in New Brighton. And we'll be doing one in June, on June 16th at the community center if you all want to come out and see it. Okay? We've had that room reach flashover conditions in as little as 3 minutes. So it's really important, again, to be aware of the speed of fire. Now, I'm glad you said something. Say it again for everyone to hear.
Sprinklers.
We have sprinklers, yes. This is a sprinkled building. They are over your head, okay? We want them there. We love fire sprinklers. It's literally like having a firefighter on standby at all times. Could those fail though? Yes. The number one reason why sprinklers fail is because somebody turned them off. Okay, that can happen. We've also had it where there have been instances, for example, a fire goes on the outside of a building and gets up into the attic and burns. Okay, there's many ways that sprinklers can still have, or sprinkled buildings can still have a catastrophic fire. That's one of the reasons for some of the changes in here, is because of the fact that now, as studies are showing, there are sprinkler failures. And unfortunately, the code is reactive to those. It's reactive to major losses of life, major losses of dollars. So we're really working to get everybody's attention on these things. Even though you're in a sprinkled building, the best spot to ever be in a building that's on fire is where? Outside the building. Okay? We love sprinklers, don't get me wrong. They save countless lives. But there's still always that chance that they might not work. Somebody could do something, somebody could have a bookshelf that's too high, that's blocking part of the sprinkler. There's any number of reasons. So we want you to still get outside, even in a sprinkled building. Does that make sense? Perfect. All right. So, let's see how many of these we got. We already talked about them. Cooking. We talked about that one. Space heaters. We really didn't talk about that. We'll get to it in a little bit. Smoking, we talked about. Electrical. And there's our friendly candle. All right. So, let's start off with that one that seems to cause the most fatal fires. Smoking. Believe it or not, it's not cooking, it is smoking. Okay? Smoking traditionally has caused the most fatal fires, yet it accounts for very few fires overall. If you smoke, please smoke outside. Okay? When you go to dispose of your cigarettes, please put them out in a sturdy, deep ashtray. If you don't have an ashtray, glass metal container filled partway with sand or water. Do not throw them on the ground and step them out, okay? Do not put them out in potted plants. Do we have any spot here for people to dispose of their smoking materials?
No.
No? Okay. I would encourage you to have a designated spot for any guests who are coming here to put out their smoking materials safely. It sounds strange, but there was a University of Minnesota, or a Minnesota college campus that went completely smoke-free. Suddenly, they had a bunch of smoking-related fires. Why? They got rid of all of their ashtrays on campus. They said, we're smoke-free, we don't need to worry about this anymore. Well, if you don't provide people a safe space to put your smoking materials out, they create one. And what they did is they started putting the students started putting their cigarette butts out in potted plants. So St. Paul Fire, they kept going to all these potted plant fires. Okay? They got real tired of it quick. So again, provide a safe space to put those materials out. Of course, never smoke in bed. And please, if you know anyone who's smoking while on oxygen, I highly recommend having that conversation with them. Do you know how dangerous this is? The great thing is, do we have any veterans in here? Raise your hand if you're a veteran. The VA has a product that actually helps people that if they are on oxygen, it has a little flammable link in it. And if it burns back to that fusible link, it shuts the oxygen off at the tube. So that way, if you ever do have a fire, it seals off that oxygen container. Great use of technology. It's about a $5 device. I wish everyone would put it on all oxygen things. Just that way we don't have that problem. But the VA is being proactive and I applaud them for that. Space heaters. Anybody here use space heaters? Space heaters get a bad rep. In the office? Okay. Alright. Space heaters really do get a bad rep. They are safe when used correctly. So what are some things that you don't want to leave too close to a space heater? Give me some ideas. Clothing. Drapes. Paper. All good answers, okay? Space heaters, just like the name, we want to give them space. If I'm a space heater, and I'm going to be right here, I want to make sure that I can't reach anything that's going to start on fire. So if I'm going to be a space heater, this would be a safe place. About 36 inches away from anything that can burn. The other thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that we always turn them off before we ever go to bed. Sounds strange, but I've seen it many times where people actually turn the space heater on when they go to bed. Toss, turn, throw the blanket over the space heater, you could end up with a really nasty fire. The other thing that's really important, we see space heaters all the time plugged in to things like this and this. Okay? Extension cords, power strips. These are not to be used for things that get hot, especially not space heaters. They're not designed for it. Space heaters need to be plugged directly into the wall outlet. Okay? The other thing that I always like to talk about while I've got these out, we really do not like these cords. Okay? They're very thin. They build up a lot of resistance as you move them around. A lot of times people, they like to put them in the junk drawer or whatever. Maybe you take it, you hang it up on the wall, so you tie it like this. Seen that one before, and I'm just going to hang it on the wall. As you're breaking those little wires inside, you're building resistance. Resistance equals heat. Heat equals fire. Okay? I've been on 3 fires in 15 years caused by these. They were always because people had damaged them in some way, shape, or form, or overloaded them. So please keep that in mind when you're using extension cords like that. Make sense? All right. Cooking. Who here likes to cook? Raise your hand if you enjoy cooking. Some people do. All right. As you've already heard, cooking is the #1 cause of fires in the state of Minnesota. If you want to see another demonstration, I'll actually have a cooking fire over at the community center on the 16th as well, and show you why you never add water to it. But we have a lot of times that people are cooking, and there's some things that we forget. Here in New Brighton, we have a rule, and that rule is really simple. Stay and look when you cook. What is it?
Stay and look when you cook.
One more time.
Stay and look when you cook.
Remember, you can always reheat your food. You can't unburn your house. So, if you're going to leave your home or the stove, turn the stove off. Even if you just think it's for a minute. I actually was at a fire one time where the lady was waiting for an Amazon package. She was waiting for this expensive camera, okay? Driver didn't stop. Quick ran up, rang the doorbell. She didn't come to the door fast enough. She had one of those ring things, and literally she sees him, leaves her pan, runs out to go catch the Amazon driver. Problem was, the door locked behind her. Okay? She was at the door watching as her pan started on fire. Okay? If you're going to leave the kitchen, turn the stove off. Make sense? We also like to talk about wearing appropriate clothing. Sounds silly, but Please avoid the flowing robes, things like that. Beware of your sleeves that can get into burners. Okay? I had a resident that was cooking. Her sleeve of her robe got on to the burner in St. Paul. She went running down the hallway.
Oh.
2 mistakes. Okay? Please make sure to be aware of what you're wearing when you're cooking. We really use those oven mitts, use those hot pads, but keep them away from getting wet, because what happens if a hot pad gets wet and you go to use it? It'll go right through, okay? That steam, you'll end up with a nasty burn. We also really recommend this Minnesota State Fire Marshal's Office, the Chiefs Club Ed Committee. We love it. Keep a lid by your pan. Okay, whenever you're cooking, fire needs 3 things to burn. Fuel, whatever's in your pan typically. Heat, usually that's the burner. And oxygen. Everybody what? Oxygen. Get to be Captain America, using your shield, and slide that lid on top. Turn the burner off, leave it there. Do not ever try to move a pan that's been on fire. Leave it on the stove, okay? If it's filling up with smoke, if it's still going, get outside, call 911. Remember, you've got the sprinklers here, okay? Let us come out, let us move that pan. We don't want you to move the pan because, again, you can trip, you can panic, drop it on yourself, okay? There's a lady by the name of Willie Mae Coleman. She dropped her burning oil right on herself, okay? Her son asked me to always share that story. It is a very real story if you want to look it up. There's a whole news story about Willie Mae Coleman and making sure to put your lid on your pan. Lastly, please, be aware of medications. If medications are making you sleepy, if you're out partying and have had a few cocktails and you cracks, okay? Settle for a sandwich, okay? We see that all the time. People come home from the bars, they've got the munchies, and they end up making French fries and fall asleep on the couch, okay? It's something we see all the time. Please be aware of how medications and alcohol will play an impact on your body. And if you're tired, don't cook with the oven or the stove. Don't do anything that's going to get hot. Have some cold food. It's the perfect time for ice cream. Yes?
Anything, we have electric stoves here. Any words of wisdom along them?
Yes, there's a few things about, do you have glass tops or do you have the coil burners? Both. Okay. Well, the great thing is new stoves actually have, by code, heat limiting technology in there. There's a thermocouple. So a lot of times people turn it on and they go, it doesn't heat up as fast as it used to. That's by design. It's cycling on, off, to try to prevent some of those fires. Some of the other ones that are out there now, some of those glass tops, we've got induction cooking where you remove the pan and it stops actually heating up. Those are great things. If you've got older coil stoves, they actually make something called safety burners or safety elements. And they're, again, designed as a replacement for those to prevent cooking fires. And there are some great examples of them being retrofitted in public housing and in senior housing, where they have actually reduced the numbers of cooking fires from several a year down to 1 to 2. So Worcester, Massachusetts did an entire thing on it. If you want to learn more, come up and see me. I would love to chat with you about it. But the biggest thing, if you've got an old electric stove, there's no need to turn it up to high, that absolute where it glows bright red. You can actually get it hot enough that you can weld your pan to it. So there's no need to go that hot. Does that answer your question? Great question, thank you. Any other questions on cooking? Yeah?
6 months ago, we were all issued fire blankets.
Okay. Here is my, I have to, the Minnesota State Fire Marshal's Office and the NFPA both have stated we do not support the use of untested, unlisted products. Okay? There are no fire blankets that are available for consumers that have met any United States standards. So, we do not recommend them, okay? We will not recommend them. If somebody goes and gets them properly tested and can demonstrate that they're meeting all the standards, that they're saying that they are reusable, that they're able to, again, make proper covers, that they've got proper weight, all of that kind of stuff for the standards, then I would support them. But until that happens, we do not support the use of untested, unlisted products. The other thing that I do have a challenge with those, and I've seen it now a couple times, is make sure if you do have them though, you understand their proper use. Because sometimes people, they think that they're able to use them, they go to put it on like this, and that heat and flames will come up into their face, the heat and smoke. You have to be very, very careful if you are going to use them. Make sense? Yes?
I was hoping that they would be effective if you see a lithium battery thing start a fire, that you could like wrap it and pick it out and throw it off the balcony or something.
I applaud your creativity. I like that idea. I do like that idea, yes. Okay. There are some studies that are going around, and they're not done yet, okay, that could show that they are effective for certain things, such as lithium-ion batteries. For example, they're starting to look at them as a supplement to extinguishing lithium-ion or electric car fires, where they literally drape this over the car and then they have sprinklers that are on little wheels that go in underneath. Right now, I don't know of any specific studies that show that. I know there are some pouches out there where you can put the lithium-ion batteries in. I know right now, New York is kind of the leading, New York Fire Department is the leading department on lithium-ion batteries. They really have a lot of information on there, and what they're recommending is if you're in a situation where those batteries are having problems and you can't get them out of your apartment or whatever, they're recommending put it in the bathtub. Because you can put it in the bathtub, close the door. That's what they are really recommending. But they're having to go as far as really determining where people can have these like what we call micro-mobility. Those are your electric bikes and things like that. That you're only allowed to have so many within a building, things like that. So they're really the cutting edge. I would highly recommend, if you want to learn more about lithium-ion battery safety, go to NYFD, New York Fire Department, battery safety, and there's an entire page all about it. Highly recommend it. It's very informational. Great question. Any other things on cooking? Otherwise, yeah. Cell phones. Okay, all right, I love this. That's why we do this. What do you want to know about cell phones?
When they catch on fire.
Okay, I have actually seen them catch on fire a couple times. The old Galaxies were the ones that seemed to be the worst, especially if people would sleep with them and have them in their foam mattress. I actually saw one melt straight through a foam mattress, which was really interesting. Here's the thing. With your cell phones, with those portable devices, I highly recommend, first of all, use the charger that was provided by the manufacturer. That's one of the biggest things. When you buy these aftermarket chargers, they might not be the correct voltage. You can have some issues with that. Make sure you get the correct charger, the correct charging cable. As soon as you see any damage to that, get rid of it. If it's one of those where you got to jiggle it to get a charge, that's not right. Something's wrong. Please get a new cord. Okay? Along with that, you will see, and especially in cell phones, sometimes if you're starting to have a real short battery life, or believe it or not, you can see the cell phone start to swell up a little bit. Okay? It does happen. They'll start to swell. You may see a little bulge in the screen. It looks... Get rid of it. Take it to a professional and have them dispose of. Anybody here, by the way, have like battery-powered tools? Like your drills and things? Most people don't know this, But Home Depot, Lowe's, Menard, I know Home Depot and Lowe's for sure, I think Menards as well. They are actually required to take those batteries. So if you have old batteries, don't just throw them in the garbage can, take them to them so that they can be properly disposed of. If you are seeing those batteries start to have problems, they're giving you errors, please stop using them. It's not worth having a fire. And I have to say this because it comes up all the time. Just because your battery is red and you're buying a red one on Amazon doesn't mean that you're buying the same battery. If you have a red brand, most people will know what I'm talking about, or a blue brand or a green brand, you do want to get the battery by the company that manufactured that tool. If it just says compatible with and you're buying it on Amazon and you're looking for a good deal, more than likely you're looking for trouble. Okay? Those batteries a lot of times don't meet American safety standards. They were possibly built in a way that would be unsafe. And a lot of times they fail much, much sooner and much more catastrophic. So we want to be aware of those. Great questions on batteries and cell phones. Anything else? Otherwise I'll keep going.
Laptop battery replacement sheet.
Great! Laptop batteries. Get them from the manufacturer whenever possible. Micro Center is a great spot. They have most of them. The bigger thing is after you get that battery, make sure you charge it carefully and appropriately. On a wood table, on countertops, things like that. I've seen $1 million houses burned to the ground because people were charging their laptop on the couch. Okay? They have to have air to cycle through. So when they're sitting on a big comfy couch, they kind of sink in a little bit. They can easily overheat and start a fire. So again, charge it, follow the directions from the manufacturer, and don't overcharge them. But yeah, Micro Center, otherwise go to your computer's manufacturer, get that battery.
So leaving the laptop plugged in every night is not a good idea.
Not the best idea, correct. Yep, great question.
Battery banks?
Battery banks. I love this. Okay, battery banks. Does everybody know what a battery bank is?
No.
Okay. I wish I would have brought mine with. A battery bank is portable power. So let's say you're going on a really long airplane trip or you're going on a car trip and you know your cell phone's not going to make it through and you're sitting in the back seat. You can plug your phone into this portable power and it will charge up your cell phone. They're a great tool. A lot of people have them. Buy them from a reputable space, something like Best Buy or another store. We really recommend avoiding, again, discount stores. Believe it or not, here in New Brighton, we had somebody was selling discounted battery banks at a discount store. And within about a month, we had 3 apartment fires because of those battery banks. Nobody knew it. They thought they were safe, but we kept seeing the same thing happen again and again. Okay, so battery banks can be safe. I recommend, again, get one that's UL listed or has been independently listed by a certified agency. So, and it should say that right on the package. Just be aware, there's a difference to conforms to and listed. A lot of times they'll say it conforms to. That just means that we built it to meet this standard. Doesn't mean we've actually tested it to make sure it works that way. Great question. All right.
How about wireless chargers?
I haven't had a problem with them. You're the first one that's ever asked. I've never had a problem with those. Great question. All right. How many of you have heard of this? Stop, drop, and roll. How many of you learned this probably in elementary school? Great. Okay. Stop, drop, and roll is a very important lesson if you're able to do that. How many people feel that they could do it right now if they needed to? Okay, good. Some people can, some people can't. I understand that. That's what's planning for your own individual abilities. That's why we have these conversations. Okay, if you do have your clothes catch on fire, you would again stop where you're at, drop to the ground, and gently roll back and forth. Cover your eyes with your hands. That keeps them protected and your airway protected. Roll back and forth, okay? If you're unable to, and I will say that this is one of those examples that a blanket, something like that, if you've got a fire blanket, that's fine. Smother it with that, okay? You can use any blanket, you can use a towel. So if you're unable to, go ahead and smother it with a blanket, a towel, your fire blanket, whatever, okay? Just remember though, if you get burned, please, burns need to be cooled quickly, and you gotta do it for a long time, 3 to 5 minutes minimum. Cool, clean, running water. And if there's blisters that are larger than about the size of a silver dollar, if it's in your face area or where your joints are, please get medical attention. Blisters or burns are notorious for getting infected. Do not, please, I have to say this so many times, put butter on them. We hear that one all the time. Olive oil. When I was in St. Paul, I did a survey. I got every answer of what do you do for burn. I have people say that they put bear grease on it. Where do you get bear grease? I don't know, but I had 3 people say that that's what you're supposed to use for burns. Okay? I know, bizarre. Okay? Yes. You don't want to put anything on it. Again, cool, clean, running water. You can wrap it with a loose-fitting, clean bandage. But if you have to go to the doctor and get it evaluated, the first thing they have to do is clean that stuff off. So if you've put butter, flour, olive oil, whatever on it, they have to clean that all off, and it's not fun. So please, save yourself some pain and don't do that. How many of you think, though, about that this was going to be a much more important part of your life when you learned it? Everybody always heard, stop, that's what you need to do. We actually don't teach this anymore to young kids. If you have young children, grandchildren, please, this is not the lesson about fire safety I want you to teach. We don't teach this till about 4th or 5th grade now. And there's a very, very important reason for that. Okay? Most of the time when we go into school and we say, what do you do if your house is on fire? What do you think the main answer kids give us is? Stop, drop, and roll. Is that what you're supposed to do when your house is on fire? No. But unfortunately, that is the message that a lot of times is getting out there. We now teach, get out, stay out. If your house is on fire, get outside, stay outside. That is a message that we are really teaching to our younger children. Once we hit 4th or 5th grade, we will talk about it, and that's because they now understand the difference between I'm on fire and there is a fire. That's a very, very important distinction that happens usually late 3rd grade to early 4th grade. So we want to make sure that they get the correct message. Why does stop, drop, and roll work though? It gets rid of what? Oxygen. What does fire need? Oxygen. Without oxygen, we have no fire. All right. Smoke and carbon monoxide alarms. We should have these in all of our homes here, correct? All right, very good. Does anyone here still travel? Who likes traveling? I do it all the time. Great. Okay, great. One of the things that we do recommend, a lot of times when you're traveling, you don't even think of this. In other countries, in other parts of the world, they may not have small or carbon monoxide. It's always a great idea to travel with a carbon monoxide alarm, okay? The other thing is, if anyone here is an ice fisher person, a carbon monoxide alarm goes in your toolbox or in your tackle box. Promise me that, okay? We actually had a firefighter 2 years ago, not here in New Brighton, but in the state of Minnesota, that died because of carbon monoxide and poisoning in his fish house. Put a carbon monoxide alarm in your tackle box whenever you're going out ice fishing, okay? Smoke alarms are your home's early warning system. They let you know when there's a problem so that you have time to evacuate. Okay? You saw those fires, you saw how quickly it is. When those start going off, that doesn't mean put the pillow over your head and pretend it goes away. Okay? Get up, figure out what's going on. If you need to leave your apartment, leave your apartment. If you can't leave your apartment, close those doors between you and wherever that fire is happening. The sprinklers again will help to protect you. Let us know where you're at, 911, okay? If you're able to get out, we want you to get out. We really do recommend, make sure that they're on every level of your home, inside each sleeping area, and outside each sleeping area. The reason why we want them inside and outside is, again, we saw how fast that fires are, how fast it can fill up with smoke, and we are now really encouraging people, sleep with bedroom doors closed. And you'll see that in just a little bit as to how big of a difference that can make. Remember, carbon monoxide is colorless, odorless. You cannot smell it, you cannot see it, you cannot taste it. Okay? If you're smelling gas, that doesn't mean it's carbon monoxide. Could be sewer gas, could be anything else, okay? If your carbon monoxide alarm is going off and it's going beep, 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 that's get outside. Call 911, let us deal with it. If it's making a chirping noise, we'll talk about that in a minute. And we still want you to test your smoke alarms at least once a month. I don't want anyone in here climbing up on chairs or anything like that. Trust me, I don't want that. We're also talking fall and injury prevention. If you can't reach up and touch it, which most people are not going to be able to, get yourself a small dowel, a yardstick, a pool cue like from over here. Those work really well, and you press the little button that's on there. Okay? Most of them have a button like that or like this. You can press either one or press those buttons. As long as it goes off, okay? Again, you know that it's at least the horns are working. You can test your alarms in your apartment. In your own condo, sorry. You will not set off the building by testing your smoke alarms, okay? It does not work that way. They're not connected to the building. So you are able to test these. Yeah?
Comment about those?
Yeah.
Okay, our smoke alarms have the big centerpiece. There is like a 3-second delay. So when you push it to test it, just wait. Don't keep pushing it, okay? The ones he's showing, they work like automatically. When you test ours, you push on it, you give it about a 3 to 5 seconds delay, and then it'll start telling you, test, so on.
So you have the newer Kidda ones that have been perfect. All right. The ones with the green ring that goes around it. So, okay, yeah, you'll be able to see that. They're much easier to test with a pole. I like that. Couple other things about smoke alarms, okay? If ever you are visiting family members or things, and you see smoke alarms that look like this is a problem. They don't start out yellow. Yes, I got the phone call, I wanted to buy the yellow smoke alarms that match the same ones I've had before. They don't start that way. That was a regular call I got in the St. Paul. Okay? Here's the thing. Smoke alarms have a lifespan. About 10 years. That is actually the manufacturer's lifespan. They have a failure rate of approximately 3% per year. So, we want you to, again, replace those smoke alarms every 10 years. If you do have problems with your smoke alarm here, correct me if I'm wrong, call the office or call maintenance. Is that correct here? Which is wonderful that you guys have that ability. In most people's homes, you're the responsible party for your home or for your smoke alarms. So you're the one that has to service them. If you're a renter though, again, you have to contact the landlord per Minnesota State Fire Code. You've got to do that within 24 hours if you run into problems. The building owner is the one who's always responsible for repairing those. The scary thing is, and this is just as a fire marshal, I don't like this, but I don't have the ability to control it. They technically have up to 14 days to respond to repair it. To me, that's a problem. If it was up to me, you'd also have 24 hours to respond to repair it, but That's Minnesota law, I can't, all I can do is work through the process. Please remember though, chirping, smoke alarms, and CO alarms are not an emergency. That is your smoke alarm or CO alarm telling you, hey, I need help, pay attention to me. It does not mean that there's an emergency. That does not mean call 911 for the fire truck because you can't sleep with a chirping smoke alarm. Okay? I understand it's an inconvenience, I understand that it's frustrating, but a chirping smoke alarm is not an emergency. Make sense to everyone? Okay. If you or your family members are ever having problems with your smoke alarms, I believe everyone has those cards that I've set out that talk about smoke alarms. Flip it over. Those are the two main manufacturers for smoke alarms now. Most modern smoke alarms actually have a sealed 10-year battery, which means there's not a lot that we can do with them. So they are the best resource for you. And I will tell you, when you call them up, make sure you let them know how old the smoke alarm is. And usually they're very, very good about problem solving. And if it's something that they can't fix, they send you new ones. So I've had very good luck with both Kidda and First Alert standing behind their products. And that's wonderful. Yep. Okay. Last thing regarding smoke alarms. Please remember everyone has different abilities. Did you have a question? Okay. Make sure the smoke alarms meet your individual needs. If you are somebody who is hard of hearing and you're not able to hear the smoke alarm, you may need something like a strobe alarm. It's going to flash to let you know if there's a problem. If you're somebody who, when you go to sleep at night, you don't hear anything, they actually make this device here, which is a bed shaker. It will literally, yep, it does exactly what it sounds like. It listens for the sound of the smoke alarm, and there's a thing like a hockey puck. Yes, we're in the state of Minnesota, so hockey's big here. It starts vibrating and it will shake you awake. It listens for that alarm to let you know there's a problem. Make sense? All right. We're going to combine two of these things, smoke alarms and cooking, okay? How many of you have ever had a problem with your smoke alarm due to your cooking? Raise your hand. I can say I have. Okay. Two things about this. Number one, please, you are all living in a co-op. We want to take care of one another. We want to make sure that everybody's here and safe. If your smoke alarm is going off because you burned the bacon, do not open your door and stand at the door and go like this. Yes, I have seen that many, many times. What you're doing is you're sending that smoke down the hallway, and you're going to trigger the building alarm, which is going to let everyone here know what happened to your bacon. Okay? Close the door, keep the door closed, open your windows, turn on your vent fan, get some circulation that way, okay? But don't open up the apartment door or the condo door, okay? Make sense? The other thing about those challenges with cooking, fortunately, new technology is starting to come out. It was released, I believe, this year officially is when NFPA and UL changed their standards for testing. All modern smoke alarms, if you were to buy one today, are required to be resistant to cooking fumes. So they're specifically designed to have multiple little tests that it does. So it may be looking for a few different things, and there's an algorithm and a computer chip in there that tests to make sure that it's not just regular cooking fumes. So that's a great thing. Again, technology improving to keep us safe, but that's going to be something that will be coming out in the newer alarms. So if you still got an old one, you're probably going to still be dealing with that problem for a little while. Make sense? All right, excellent. Any questions on smoke or carbon monoxide alarms? I love it. All right. This is a really big one, and this is really important to what we're doing here. Plan and practice your escape from a fire. If at all possible, we want you to have 2 ways out of every room. That's not always realistic, is it? But we want to, again, be aware of that. I might not be able to go out the window. I might need to wait for the fire department, but I want to know how, again, I would signal the fire department to get there. I want to make sure that those windows and doors open. Do I know how to open the window that I can yell out, hey, I'm here, I need help? Okay? If those windows are, again, as the building swells and you're having problems opening them up, talk to somebody about that. That's a problem. Again, make sure you're able to open the doors. Somebody was talking about the fire doors. If you're struggling with the fire doors, maybe you have to adjust your plan so you don't go through those fire doors. That's an important thing to think about. And remember, if the alarm sounds, get outside. We'll talk a little bit more about this one in just a little bit, though. Okay? Remember, if you can't get outside and you have to shelter in place, close as many doors between you and the fire as possible. We still talk a little bit about this, but the studies coming out show that you don't need to shove a towel under the door, but it gives people a sense of being able to do something. You don't have to do it. Where does smoke go? Up. We saw it in the video. The last spot that filled with smoke was way down on the floor. That's where, again, when we're putting a towel down, it's the very last thing that's going to come underneath the door. And the majority of the time, especially in a building that's sprinkled, well-designed like this one, it's not going to get down there. So there's no need to specifically put a towel under the door. We really, it's something that you don't need to do. What we do recommend, if you're trapped inside of a building, go to the window, close as many doors between you and the fire as possible, go to the window, okay? Look for us. One of the first things that we're going to do, if at all possible, is do a 360 around a building, which means we walk around looking for people who might be screaming or yelling for help. If you have a nice thing like a headlamp, shine it out the window, go like this to get our attention. That's a great thing to do. I recommend everybody have a headlamp, okay? Keep it by your bedside. When you check your smoke alarms, turn on your headlamp, make sure it works. The great thing about headlamps, because we're not doing the fall prevention piece today, what do I have? I got both hands free. This way, if I need to open doors, hold on to railings to evacuate, all of that stuff, my headlamp's right there. I highly recommend everyone have a headlamp. Okay? Yes?
Is it better to go out on the deck
If you can get out on the deck, by all means go out on the deck.
and shut the door behind
Shut the door behind you. Yep, that's just fine. Only time I would not recommend going out on the deck is if it's the deck that's
on fire?
involved. And that can happen. In fact, that's one of the #1 reasons why sprinkled buildings fail or have problems, is the fire starts outside the building and it keeps growing and then the sprinklers can't keep up. So just be aware of that. Yes?
Just to clarify, when she says deck, is that equivalent to balcony?
Yes. Deck and balcony are the same thing, yes. At least that's my understanding of it. Is that what you intended as well? I want to confirm, okay. Yes.
That's why no grills on the deck.
Mm-hmm. That is correct. We don't need to get into that. There is a special way you can have grills on the deck. I don't think it's ever going to happen here because there's a whole bunch of hoops you have to jump through to get it. And of course, if you have problems with stairs, we do recommend have your apartment, have your home on the first floor, sleep on the first floor. We'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. So does a door actually do anything? Well, here's a great example.
Many people think that a common bedroom door doesn't provide much protection from fire. However, a closed bedroom door could buy you the valuable time needed to escape or to be rescued by the fire department. Always close all interior doors before you go to sleep.
If you ever want to see a longer video of that, if you want to learn more about the science behind it, remember this is UL. They're the people who, again, test all our smoke alarms, things like that. They have the Firefighter Protection Agency, who specifically works to, again, try to help keep firefighters safe. They have an entire campaign called Close Before You Doze. That's a very short video of it. They actually show you the fire burning. The one thing that I always like to point out there, you saw the one room that had almost no damage. That room was closer to the fire than the other room. It actually had, the fire had to go all the way down the hallway in the other door in order to burn up that room. So most people don't catch it that right away, but the room that was closed was actually the room that was closer to the area of origin, which is fascinating. A closed door buys time, and just so you guys know this, it's kind of a cool thing. If we ever have to go into a building through a window, so we're going in to rescue somebody, and we find a victim right there, we're going to leave the victim. Our first job is to get to the door. Because if I can close that door, I've now isolated that room. Now I've got all the time I need to get that victim up out the window to safety. So we'll actually go into a room, we find the victim. All right, there's the victim. I'm going to the door to go close it. Then I'm going to work to get that victim out. Kind of a cool thing that we're doing now. And it's all based on science. Everybody should know this one. What's our local emergency number? 911. 911, that's right, okay? Please, if you're, again, seeing a fire, some other crime things, you know, we do want you to call us. So in the event of an emergency, by all means, call us. You know, if somebody's out screaming in the woods, call 911. Somebody's out, maybe they had to capsize their boat out on the Rush Lake, call 911, okay? By all means, call us. That's what it's there for. Why is it important, though, to escape first, then call 911? Anybody?
Yeah, the time factor.
You're wasting time, yes. I actually am dealing with a person right now. We both put a brand new smoke alarm system into the building. New smoke alarms, new building alarm systems, they're required to be inside your unit. So you can actually hear it if the building's going off. They didn't like that because they couldn't hear the 911 dispatchers. They're trying to tell them there's a fire in the building. Okay? We want you outside. Remember, when the building's on fire, the safest place to be is outside. Make the 911 call from outside. Get outside, call 911. Last one for fire safety messages, and this is a huge one. Plan your escape around your own abilities. This is really, really important. We want you to have a fire drill at least twice a year, okay? Now, that might not be a whole building drill, but can you do your own practice fire drill? Sure you can. You can, again, pretend to set off the alarms, make sure you're able to get outside quickly. Make sure you're still able to do all of the things that you need to do in the event of a fire. Please also make sure that your plan is realistic. Okay? Your plan should not include the following: tying the bed sheets together and scaling the building. Okay? That is not your plan. Your plan should not be to jump into a trampoline or a pool on property, okay? Yes, these are all things that we hear on a regular basis. Your plan should not involve toboggans, okay? Yes, I have had that one where somebody said that I am unable to navigate the stairs, So I am going to have a red plastic toboggan to slide down. Okay? I applaud the creativity and the ingenuity, but that is not the intent, okay? We want to also make sure that we keep those things that we're going to need to do our escape where we're able to easily access them. So things like your keys, things like your flashlight, your walker, your glasses, should always be someplace close to where you can get them. So again, we really recommend by your bedside. That's where I tell everyone, have a headlamp. When you're going to sleep at night, make sure that that cane or walker is easily accessible so you can get to it and if you need to in an emergency. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, you really have to do that. Plan your escape around your own individual abilities. What I'm able to do isn't going to be the same as what someone else is going to be able to do. So as we age, as our abilities change, that's why our fire escape plans have to change with them. Okay? What are some other things you might want by you if you were, again, need to escape a fire? Anyone?
My purse with all the
Your purse, okay? A jacket, sure. Yeah.
My pants.
Your pants, all right. Yep. Anything else?
shoes.
Shoes, okay. A lot of people say their cell phone. I want my cell phone, so that way I can call for help if I need to, okay? Keep those things in mind, okay? Again, it's putting them in place so when an emergency happens, if an emergency happens, you're able to get out and successfully get out of the building. We want everyone to be safe. Does that make sense to everyone? All right, so let's review. What is the safest way to prevent fires if someone's smoking? Don't smoke. All right, well, I can't tell them that, so what do I want them to do then? Smoke outside. I heard somebody say it. What else?
Have a container.
Deep ashtray. Please don't smoke below oxygen. Yep. Okay. Those are all good answers. Have a spot to put those things out to. What are some items we just talked about that you want by the bedside?
Cell phone.
Cell phone,
Keys.
keys, flashlight, cane. Your what? Walker, yep. Pants. Everybody's going to remember, I need my pants now. You're going to be memorable for that one. All right. What would be an idea of something you could share with someone to remind them to turn off the space heater before they leave the room? Keep it 36 inches, definitely. Turn it off before you go to bed. Yep.
Don't use that brown wire.
Don't use these cords like this. One thing I never did talk about with you guys on that, please, if you're going to buy a space heater again, go to the store and actually buy one brand new in the box. Don't buy it online, and please don't buy them from garage sales or things like that. Modern space heaters have very specific safety devices, for example, like this little one here, and this one's about 5 years old. It's got a tip over switch on the bottom, so if it tips over, it shuts off. It's also, if you look inside here, there's a little thermal switch. If it gets too hot, it cuts out the power. All of those features on new space heaters, they're not on a lot of the old ones, and you don't know if maybe they had a problem, somebody's repaired it. I just always tell people, avoid anything that gets hot at a garage sale. Just don't do it. Okay?
I was gonna say, these electric fireplaces are space heaters.
Yep, and they're specifically designed to be close to the wall, and they've got shielding and things like that, which is pretty darn cool. The thing about them is you gotta make sure that you read the manufacturer's instructions. Some of those infrared heaters too say that you can have a zero clearance, but it's got to say in the manual. That's what I would always recommend, read your manual. Yeah?
Can you put a space heater on a timer? So they would automatically shut off after a certain time?
I would think if you had a heavy duty timer with a heavy rated cord, you might be able to do so. I don't know for sure though. That's a very good question. I'd have to do more research and make sure that it meets like the correct amperage and has the correct wiring and everything. But potentially, yeah. It's not a bad idea. I like the creativity on that. That's good.
Well,
Yeah.
remind me to shut it off.
Yeah.
I have to remember if I had it on the timer.
A lot of times people will use their cell phone set timer. That's another one. Another big one, people should preheat their bedroom if they've got a space heater. Preheat your bedroom before you go to bed. Turn it off when you go to bed. All right. Hopefully everyone remembers this. What's our rule about cooking in New Brighton?
Stay in the room.
Very close. Stay and look when you cook. One more time.
Stay and look when you cook.
Very good. Excellent. All right. Questions about fire safety? Anything? Yes.
I have 2 cats.
2 cats. Wonderful.
I know they won't be top priority, but tell me what you do.
Okay. I would love to tell you that. So, no. I have cats, so don't worry about it. Cats, dogs, chinchillas, take your pick. Okay? They're pets. They're family. I understand that. Okay? I'm going to give you the same message that I give to everyone else. If you love your pets, I need you to get outside and tell us about them. Okay? Don't spend time, as you saw, trying to find your pets. The best thing about pets, number one, they're really smart. So most of the time they're going to follow you if they can. The other part about pets that's really good is they are much lower to the ground than we are. Okay? But the best chance your pets have in an emergency is for you to get outside and let us know about them so then we can go in there and get them. If you are inside trying to find your cat or your pets or whatever, and you are overcome by the smoke or fire, and we go in, your pets have no chance. Because we're going to start by looking for a victim. We're going to start by looking for a person. If you can outright tell us, my apartment, my condo is clear, but I've got 2 cats, great. I don't have to worry about people. I can take care of the problem and I can rescue the pets then. Okay? So I highly, highly recommend get outside, let us know about them. We do not recommend the pet, save my pet stickers or anything like that. Same thing, you may have heard of the Tot Finder stickers of people putting a picture of a child in the window, let firefighters. We don't look for that stuff anymore. We really don't. Because it's not, number one, our priority, and number 2, we don't know how long that sticker or that information has been there. There are still Tot Finder stickers out where those kids have moved away to college and there's not a tot in there. We also don't like to advertise where little kids could be in this day and age. So it's just one of those things, stay away from that stuff. Yes?
We have monoxide detectors in our garage.
Great.
That automatically turn on the air exchangers, but we can still have people that run their cars, for minutes, maybe even 10 minutes. And when we had a power outage, people went down and ran their cars to charge up their phones. The air exchangers were not working. It was very, very toxic. Any advice?
All right, that's a tough one in this particular situation, and I understand that. We all want our devices, we want to charge our cell phones. Thank you for bringing it up. We really do not want to have our vehicles idling down in the garage. I know that's something that we've probably heard, we've probably done it when we had our own house, things like that. If you read the safety information on that, if you understand how it's supposed to work, you're supposed to officially pull your vehicle out of the garage to idle it, okay? That's part of the reason why you're not supposed to leave the keys in there too, so you have to have an auto start or something like that. But you're supposed to move those vehicles outside the building. People have, I'm just gonna, people have been killed by this. in people's homes. There's actually a story from about 3 years ago. I believe it was in like Cottage Grove, or it was somewhere on the East Metro. Somebody accidentally started their vehicle in the middle of the night and left it running in the garage. They did not have proper carbon monoxide alarms, and they ended up dying from it. Okay? Carbon monoxide is very serious. It's colorless, odorless, and it's super deadly. So, in those cases, is there a way to open the garage when you lose power? Is there a pull chain that
Yes,
opens up the garage?
yes, battery backup.
Battery back?
It worked for 4 hours.
It worked for 4 hours. What I would do is until the power, I mean, I hate to say this, but until the power is restored, you know, if you hit that 4 hours and it no longer opens anymore, pull that rope or whatever it is, because there should be an automatic release, and get that door up so people can come and go. You might have to have somebody down there keeping an eye security-wise, but you don't want to leave those running when you don't have any exhaust and it's building up in the garage. That's super dangerous. Thank you for bringing that up, yeah. Carbon monoxide is not something to joke around with.
Could you talk about how dangerous smoke is, how quickly
Yeah,
you could succumb to it?
I'd be happy to, yeah. All right, how many people here think most people who die in a fire die because of the flames? No one, good. How many people here believe that most people die in a fire because of the smoke? Very good, okay. It's about 1 to every 4 people. So every person that dies due to thermal assault or thermal injuries, actual flame impingement, 4 die from smoke. Smoke is far more dangerous than the flames themselves. In today's modern environments, we like to say basically you get 2 breaths. Okay? So all the people who think I'm going to just hold my breath and run through the smoke, it's not realistic. Okay? The first breath puts you on the floor, the second breath takes you out. These are hot, hot, hot gases. You saw that they eventually actually burst into flames. It is the equivalency of unburned diesel fuel that you would be breathing in that thick black smoke now. The first one really scars your lungs. The second one is the one that you're not going to again come back from. So, again, we do talk about get low and go. If that smoke is banked down to about here already, close the door, find another way out, shelter in place. And when I'm talking smoke, I'm not talking there's a haze in the hallway. I'm talking smoke banked down. So some thicker black smoke. You'll know the difference, trust me on that. But if that's banked down this way, don't even try to go that way. Close the door because it's just going to keep banking down one more. Great question. Anything else? Yes?
The wet towel is a myth.
Wet towel?
Towel, yeah. Is it a good idea?
Over your mouth? Or
Yep.
it used to be. It's just not anymore. It really doesn't do much. That whole idea of the wet towel actually came from really old firefighters, like in the 1700s. There actually used to be a rule to be a firefighter, you had to have a beard. Okay? You did. Literally, your job when you were a firefighter, you dumped your beard in a bucket of water and you put it in your mouth to breathe through. You can look it up if you don't believe me, okay? It is a real fact, okay? But that was one of the requirements. It'll filter a little bit, but it's not going to do what you think it's going to do. It's much better to, again, get out a different way or shelter in place. We don't want you to go through that stuff. It's so fast and so dangerous. Yes?
This may no longer be applicable, but when I was in college, our dorm burnt. And one of the problems we had was that the fire originated right next to the pull box. And so when the gal pulled it, it had already burned through the wires.
Oh.
So there was no way to alert people. Could that happen here?
It shouldn't. In fact, to be completely honest, when was this building built?
2006.
I don't think you guys should probably even have very many pull stations left. I think they'd be very minimal. The modern fire code doesn't require those in fully sprinkled buildings, and there's a reason for that. You've got smoke detection in your hallway detection, and each one of these is officially a fire detector. So as soon as that sprinkler head pops, there's a little flapper in the pipes downstairs, and that starts moving like this, and that actually automatically triggers the fire alarm. So you've got multiple ways to protect it. I've never heard of it burning through the wires. That was not where I thought you were going with that. I was sure, because this is a real problem, you were going to talk about arson. Because we do have kids, especially in colleges, they pull pranks. They light the billboards on fire, things like that, and they think, oh, it's just a harmless prank. And that's serious business. That can cost people lives. So, yeah, I can't imagine that happening in a modern building. I just can't imagine, because it's all running conduits and things too. So that would be very odd. Yeah. Other questions? Yes?
When is a fire drill planned for this building?
That I cannot answer. You can do it. So the board, because you guys are a board, correct? You guys can plan a fire drill whenever you want. The fire department does not have to be notified of a fire drill. You can do it whenever you would like. The only catch is somebody here has to notify the alarm company, and I'm guessing you use somebody like Silent Night, Nardini, Berger, whoever your monitoring association is. You call them up, say, hey, we're going to do a fire drill. They put your alarm on test, they can pull the fire alarm, and you can do a drill. You reset it afterwards, you're good. You do not need to notify the fire department of it. We don't have to be here for it. You can, of course, say, hey, we're just going to do a fire drill on this date, shoot me an email, that's fine, I can forward it on to the chiefs. That's not an issue, but you don't have to do that. As long as you verify the alarm is in test before you do so. Great question. Yeah?
If you have a small fire in your unit and the sprinklers go off, does that set all the sprinklers in the whole building off?
Oh, thank you so much for asking that question. That is a movie myth that we are working on eliminating. So, this is part of my job as fire marshal and education and all this stuff. No, they do not work that way. Everything that you've seen in the movies about fire sprinklers, throw it out the window with the garbage. It is not that way. Okay? Let me pull out a sprinkler head just so everyone can see it. So, this is a fire sprinkler head. This is a very common one, okay? Inside a fire sprinkler head, you will see there's a little glass flangeable bulb. These are designed with a little air bubble in it that expands when it gets hot enough. This one's typically 165 degrees is what this one is rated for. So when it reaches about 165 degrees, the little ball or the little bubble expands enough that it pops and breaks this piece of glass. What happens then is there's a little plug here. And that plug gets pushed out of the way by the water pressure and allows the water to come through and sprinkle out to put out the fire. That is the reason why only the sprinklers that are directly by the fire will activate, not the whole building. It does not work that way, okay? What you see in the movies is something called a deluge system. There's one here in New Brighton at the telephone pole factory, and that's you pull the handle and everything goes off. That doesn't happen here. It's generally the ones closest to the fire, and most fires in sprinkled buildings are controlled by about 2 to 3 heads, okay? That being said, these are designed to give people extra time to evacuate and the fire department time to get there. Most of the time though, they do a very, very good job of keeping that fire in check or even putting it out. So we are huge supporters of fire sprinklers. Great question. Yeah.
You said 2 or 3 heads in the whole building.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Why not?
Well, which 2 or 3?
Which 2 or 3 now? All right, perfect. All right, I'm glad. Okay, so you picked it. So I'm going to pick on you. Okay?
Why not?
Why? All right. So, something happened here with your cell phone, and it starts on fire. You quickly get your cell phone out of your pocket and set it on the chair. The chair is now on fire, okay? The sprinklers that are more than likely going to activate are the ones that are closest to that fire. So if this chair here, what's going to happen is heat, smoke, it all goes up and out. We have these knockdowns here, so that's going to keep that heat and smoke and things, again, kind of contained a little bit. So it's going to go up, and more than likely, I'm guessing from this location, it's probably going to trip that one first, okay?
That one by the building.
And it's probably going to trip that one over there, okay? So this one and this one. I don't think it would probably even get to the next 2 over there. So it's going to be based on the amount of heat that it gets, and remember too, as soon as one activates, it's spraying out water. So it's cooling down that environment. So generally, because it's cooling down that fire, it doesn't trigger all of them. So it's generally 2 to 3 heads at most. Does that make sense?
They all could. I mean, each one individually could turn on, depending on where the fire is.
They can all
They all
work.
have the bubble.
They all have the bubble, they all function, they could all go, any one of them could go off to prevent or to, again, control a fire. But it's going to be the ones that are closest to the fire that'll actually go off. Yes?
Because
I can hear you and I can repeat the question.
okay, because we're lakeside,
Yep.
for people who live on that side and let's say they're escaping onto their balcony,
Yes.
can the fire truck and the big ladder get around to that side?
Okay, the fire truck and the big ladder, I don't believe, there is no access road on the back, correct? So this building was built without a fire access road in the back. We do have 36-foot ladders, so we are able to get up fairly high with it. The other thing about it is, again, on a building like this, we'd probably make the attack through the inside and still try to get you out the hallway. One of the things that I want to make very clear though, and this is very important, just because you're out on the balcony doesn't necessarily mean that you are at risk, okay? Just because you're sheltering in place doesn't put you at risk. If I have a fire in this room right now, okay, my areas of risk are straight above me. So whoever's apartment is right above me, those are going to be the ones that I'm going to focus on making sure that nobody's there, okay? Once I make sure that nobody's there, then I'm going to look at the 2 on the side. So if there's an apartment that way and an apartment that way, those are where I would check. If for some reason the fire gets out of my little box here, and it goes up, then I'm going to do the next floor up. So it's really important to know that if you're out there screaming on the balcony, help me, help me, help me, I can't evacuate, and the fire's all the way on that end of the building, we're probably going to say, you're fine, stay put, okay? Our job is to put the fire out, because as soon as we get the fire out, everything's better. Make sense? So just because you're on the balcony trying to get our attention, if the fire's all the way down on that end, we may just say, you're fine, stay where you're at. That doesn't mean that we don't like you. It doesn't mean that we don't want to have a conversation and rescue you or anything like that. It just means you're not immediately at risk. Does that make sense to everyone? That's really important. Do not jump off the balconies. We've told people that before. We had a fire that was all the way down the other end, and the lady said that she was hopping off the balcony because she didn't want to wait anymore. Yes?
How do you know at the fire department where the fire is when you get here?
Oh, great question. This building, because it was built in 2006, correct, does have a smart system. So we do have detectors throughout. So like this one right here, they're addressable. So it's going to, again, tell me at the panel where approximately it is. It's not always 100% accurate. That's in a nice modern building like this. In older buildings, we have to go walk the floors and try to find it. All we know is that there's a fire here, or a detector, or the water flow is going off at the building, then it's our job to find it. But fortunately, in a building like this, it'll tell us. You were next to I'll have you after. Did you still have a question?
Yes, we have we're notified there's a fire here.
Yeah.
How many trucks come in?
Ooh, that's a good question. It depends. So if it's a true on-structure fire, we have it confirmed. We're going to have one aerial for sure. We're going to have a Lake Joe engine coming as well, so Lake Johanna. We would have another 3 engines from New Brighton. That's to start. We're going to have 1 ambulance, probably upgraded to a second one just in case somebody needs us. So that's to start, plus myself, probably 2 chiefs. In total, you'd probably be looking at 40 to 45 firefighters with the staff, yep. We're very fortunate. If it grew beyond that, then we call mutual aid. We'd get another truck from Roseville, we'd get a truck from Fridley, and we'd probably get an engine from St. Anthony. They'd come and help us. Now you just increased it by another 15 people. We all have agreements that if we need more help, we get on the radio, hey, start me a second alarm. And the dispatchers know, all right, a second alarm means I get another ladder truck and 2 engines to assist. It helps out quite a bit when we all agree to that. Yes?
When we leave our units,
Yes.
our instinct normally is to lock the door. I assume we should not take the keeper?
Okay. The question was, our instinct is to lock the door. Okay. That's why we do this. I love doing it. The instinct is to lock the door. Very natural instinct, especially when we want to prevent crime. We don't want to become a victim ourselves. You do not need to lock the door. It makes our job a little bit easier if you don't, but I will, please close the door behind you, okay? Close it, make sure it latches. One of the best things you can do for us is close that door. A lot of times people think I'm going to leave it open so the firefighters can get in there easily. No, you just made our job much more difficult. Close the door behind you. Keep it contained. I'm sorry your apartment, your unit's on fire, but you're also protecting all of these nice people's way out and our way back in. Please close the door. Great question. Yes?
Yeah, once the sprinklers have gone off, how do you actually turn the water off so to reduce the water damage from them?
Yeah, great question. So, all the sprinklers have valves. So there is a way that we can shut off the water. I believe it's down in the garage here. I also believe this building has isolation or zones in each of the stairwells. So I can go in and actually isolate a certain area. Then there's a large drain that drains the water back out of the pipes. Now, what happens after that is, again, you're going to have a fire sprinkler contractor come out. They're going to put new heads in. Again, tighten everything down, make sure that it doesn't leak. Get that system repressurized so that the building's still protected. But that's essentially what it does. So we isolate the valve, or isolate where it is, drain that part of the system down, and then wait for the sprinkler contractors to repair it.
So to actually shut it off, it would need to be done by the fire department or by maintenance?
Maintenance could do it. Believe it or not, unfortunately, I have to say this, people with bad intent can also do it. So if somebody were to ever break in and go in and shut the valves, that's why we have them tampered. So there's a little alarm that triggers at the fire alarm panel. It's called a tamper switch.
And that actually activates if somebody goes down and turns those handles, and it's supposed to let them know. But if they don't notice it, again, that's also why in New Brighton we lock those valves. So those valves have a chain on them with the padlock, so I can turn it a little bit, but I'm not going to be able to shut that valve all the way off. So we really do try to, again, prevent that from happening, because that is the number one reason why sprinkler buildings burn to the ground, is somebody turned off the fire sprinkler system.
Yep. Yes, back there.
Yes, there was talk about when we have the fire alarm go off, all the fire doors close, because they're magnetically closed. But then people here say, to escape, well, you can open the fire doors and run out. So what is the difference between controlling the fire with the fire doors and us escaping through them?
Okay, great question. So the question was, again, fire doors, they automatically close. The whole point of that is they don't know when the fire is going to occur. So the whole building, when those doors close, it's creating those individual compartments. Now, before you open a fire door, by all means, double check, feel to make sure it's not hot. Make sure that there's not smoke or things coming through that. Use your senses, okay? Smell, am I smelling smoke? Feel, oh, it's hot, I don't want to go that way. Look, okay, there's smoke, fire back there. Okay, listen, am I hearing something, or am I hearing water flowing behind that door? All of those things should be up. Nope, that's not a way that I want to go. If you're not seeing those things, if you're not smelling it, go out, you feel the door, okay, it's not hot. Go ahead and open that door up. It's not going to, again, relatch. You can go through the door, okay? You've just entered like another room. That's how it's considered, okay? It's another area. Now I can go down those stairs or whatever. But those doors are designed to, again, close to compartmentalize the building to keep that smoke and fire from traveling throughout. So it is perfectly fine to go through there, but always be cautious. Again, feel the doors, look, smell, all that kind of stuff. Make sense? Okay, perfect. Other questions? All right. We are now almost at 3 o'clock. So, like I said, I will not do anything for fall prevention. I will stay here for about another 10 minutes. If you want to have a conversation one-on-one, I am happy to do that. I thank you all for coming out, and my one question for you is, did you learn something today? Good. Please have me out if you want to do the fall piece. If you've got specific questions too,